Hey ChemStars, this is Mrs. Vanderwey bringing you the last edition of the Chapter 2 ChemStar video where you are the star. So this is factor labeling, and this is a very, very, very important skill. Did you hear me? It's a skill that you're going to be using quite a bit later on in the year. So we're going to introduce this to you now. And when we get into chapter 7, we're going to hit this really hard again, okay? So factor labeling is also known as dimensional analysis. And this is how we convert units by looking at the factors, okay? That's why it's called factor labeling. And this is the time where you do not want to be lazy. Did you hear me? Do not be lazy. You need to write down every single unit on every single number. And what's the difference? If there's a number with a unit with it, it's a measurement. If it's just a number, it's not a measurement, it's just a number. Okay, so there is a big difference, and we really do care if you put your units down or not. So please, once again, don't be lazy in this process, okay? So what is a conversion factor? Well, it converts one unit to another. And the reason why we're allowed to do this is that the conversion factor is a ratio. What's a ratio? It's like something divided by something that has a value of 1. Okay, so you're allowed to multiply any number by 1. Okay, your math teacher will be very happy if you just multiply a number by 1 and you aren't, changing any rules of math, are you? But the 1 doesn't look like the cardinal number 1, all right? It's going to look different, but it's still equal to 1. Okay, let me show you how that happens. So, for example, I know in my heart of heart, 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So what can I do? I can divide both sides by the same term. I can either divide both sides by 1 meter, or I can divide both sides by 100 centimeters. So if I divide both sides by 1 meter, hey folks, what does that left-hand side become? Isn't this 1? Isn't 1 meter divided by 1 meter equal to 1? So then if 1 meter divided by 1 meter is equal to 1, then 1 is equal to 100 centimeters over 1 meter. But what happens if I multiply both or divide by sides by 100 centimeters? Now this term is equal to 1. So if the right-hand side is equal to 1, then the left-hand side is equal to 1, and that's where I get this. So notice that the centimeters can be on top or they can be on the bottom. It makes no difference. Okay, so what I want you to do now is follow along with me, and let's do the same exact thing to come up with the 2 different conversion factors for the relationship between inches and centimeters. So I don't know if you knew this, but 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. So what can we do? All right, well, I'm going to start off with my 1 inch is equal to 2.54. And what do you want to divide both sides by? I really don't care. Well, all right, because I go left to right, I'll do inches. So I'm going to divide both sides by inches. Well, what do you notice? Well, doesn't this equal to, oops, hang on. Oh, no. Doesn't this equal to 1? All right, so if it's equal to 1, then we can say 1 is equal to 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch. But what else could I have done? Well, I'll start off with my original. Did I have to divide both sides by 1 inch? Not at all. I could also divide it by 2.54 centimeters. And now what happens to this side? That is equal to 1, isn't it? So I can get 1 inch divided by 2.54 is also equal to 1. So notice both of these terms here and here is equal to 1. So I can divide or multiply by 1 and I can still maintain, that same value. So I'm going to use this for the idea of dimensional analysis. So here are some quick rules, okay? You always, always, always start off with question mark unknown. This is how Mrs. Vanderwally does it, okay? I know there's other teachers out there that have it set up a little bit different, but it's still the same. I personally like to do the question mark unknown because then your focus is on what is it that I'm looking for. If you write down question mark unknown, then you know when you're going to stop, okay? And it's going to equal to the given times some conversion factor or maybe conversion factors. You might have to do it more than once. All right, so this, oh man, this is so important. Number 1, star it. It is so important. That's how you get started. The conversion factor will have in the what? In the denominator. the units of the given. That is the key, okay? That is the key. There are many cases when you need to know more than one conversion factor, you need to do more than one conversion factor, and I'll explain. If you know a direct relationship between the given and known, then only one is needed. The number of sig figs in your answer should only reflect the number of sig figs in the given only. Why? Because that is your directly measured quantity. All right. The conversion factors are not directly measured, but are known as equalities. They have infinite number of sig figs. So you never ever look at the number of sig figs of the conversion factor because they're infinity. Only look at the ones of your given. Okay, so let's look at the example. All right, so for example, how many seconds are there in 48 minutes of this class? Okay, so what am I looking for? Question mark, seconds. That's what I'm looking for. How many seconds? All right, now what is equal to the given? What's my given value? We'll read it, 48 minutes. All right, so now what? Oh, this is so important. What was number one? The units in the denominator are the same as the units of the given. So I'm going to put minutes here. Because my given is in minutes, I'm going to put minutes on the bottom. And what unit are you looking for? You want seconds. Do you know a relationship between minutes and seconds? Yeah, sure. Okay. There are 60 seconds in 1 minute. Okay. So now I'm going to take 48 times 60 divided by 1. Okay. What else do you notice here? I would do this before you even get your calculator out. Notice minutes are on top, minutes are on the bottom. What's my only unit left? Seconds. That's what I'm looking for. I can now punch my calculator and, well, not really like punch it, but you know what I mean. I can now get to my calculator and use it. So 48 times 60 divided by 1 is this. Now, what does number 4 say? The number of sig figs in your answer should reflect the number of sig figs in the given. All right, so I'm right, but what else? Sig figs. All right, that's not my answer. Not yet. How many sig figs are here? 2. How many are here? 3. Because I have to worry about sig figs, my answer is actually 2,900 seconds. I had to round to 2 sig figs. If my given has 2 sig figs, my answer must have 2 sig figs. Well, let's look at the next one. All right, how many hours are in 34,934 seconds? Man, that's pretty exact, isn't it? All right, so what are you looking for? What's your question mark unknown? It's hours. What's it equal to? 34,934 seconds. All right, so now I need a conversion factor. Okay, there it is. Hey, what unit goes on the bottom? Oh, that is so important. Put it on the bottom. It is seconds. All right, well, what's the only conversion you really know about seconds? It goes to minutes. I really don't know how many seconds are an hour. I can kind of stop and think about it. But off the top of my head, no. Seconds goes to minutes. So it's 60 seconds are an minute. Okay, now just pause for a second. Why did I do that? The time above, seconds was on top and minutes was on the bottom. Why is seconds on the bottom now? Oh, because my given is in seconds, right? So what can I do? I can cancel these out, and now what? I have minutes. Is minutes what I'm looking for? No. All right, I gotta keep going, don't I? All right, I can do that. I'm gonna keep going. So what unit has to go on the bottom? Minutes. Well, what is there a relationship between minutes and hours? Yeah, 1 hour is 60 minutes. And what do you notice again? That I have, let me use green. All right, minutes cancels out. Oops. And what's left? Hours. All right, is hours what I want? Yes, that is what I want, isn't it? Okay, that's a Y, by the way. So I can stop right there. All right, I'm done with my factor labeling. Notice that seconds canceled, minutes canceled, hours are left. Hours is what I want. I'm good to go. So I can go ahead and calculate. So what is 34,934 times 1 divided by 60 times 1 divided by 60? And that's equal to 9.703888889. All right, well, how many sig figs do I need? However many's in my given. How many are in my given? 5. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I need to round up? Yes, I do. And there you go. Okay. Let's do one more on this page. I am 167 centimeters tall. How many inches am I? Well, that's a great question. All right, so where do I start? Question mark unknown. How many inches are in 167 centimeters? Folks, I hope every single one of you can at least write that down, okay? It is how many unknowns equals how much known, okay? You should all be able to do that. Now what? I need to put this here. What unit has to go on the bottom? Everyone? I can't hear you. Everyone? Yes, inches. Or sorry, no, yeah, centimeters. There we go. I almost had a problem there, didn't I? All right, so what goes on top is inches. I do know a direct relationship between inches and centimeters. Why? Because it's right up here. There's my relationship, or there's my relationship. I'm using this one, so centimeters are on the bottom, inches are on top. Okay, so what should I do at this point? I should probably see if they cancel out. So centimeters cancels. What's left? Inches. Is inches what I want? Yes, it is. All right, I'm ready to use my calculator now. So this is equal to, all right, 65.7480315. So what's my final answer? How many sig figs? Yep, 3. And there's my answer. Okay. So did you see how I did all 4 steps? Here is my unknown given. The units of my given are in my denominator. Units of what I want ends up being the only thing left on top. Here's my value, and here I fix my sig fig. So it's kind of like 4 steps, okay? Let's go to the next page and we can finish up. So do you remember earlier when we bounced the decimal number to go from kilometers to meters and hectometers to centimeters and that kind of thing? We had the time, you know, there that big chart there, and we kept moving our decimal places over to the right or over to the left. Well, we're going to do the same thing with factor labeling. And I like to introduce this to you because you can go back and use that chart to check your work, all right? So don't say, Mrs. Vandewell, I already know how to do this. I can just move the decimal point. Well, that's great. I'm so glad you know how to do that. But that's not the purpose. If you recall how I began this entire video for this section, is that I'm teaching you a skill. I want you to know how to factor label. And by giving you, intermetric conversions, then you can always check your work, okay? So I still want you to factor label. So it says if a base unit is either in the given or the known, it's a one-stepper. Grams and kilograms. Grams is the base unit, it's a one-stepper. If a base unit is not in the problem, then what I call a multiple stepper. You always go to the base unit in the first conversion factor. And don't forget, we talked about this before, the smaller unit always gets the bigger number. So what's my step number 1? Question mark, unknown is equal to my given. Okay. Now what? I need to put the units of my given in the denominator. So what's bigger, a kilogram or a gram? Which one's heavier? It's a kilogram, isn't it? So my smaller number gets the bigger unit. So my smaller unit gets the bigger number. So there's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. Did you catch how I did that? As long as I know which one is the bigger unit, I put the 1 there. My smaller unit will always get the bigger number. So 1,000 is bigger than 1, okay? And that works. And so what am I going to do? I'm going to multiply. Oops, I forgot my equal sign. And there we go. I have 3 sig figs. I have 3 sig figs. These zeros are not significant. There is no decimal point behind them. By the way, notice that my kilograms once again cancels out. Grams is left on top. Grams is what I want. Life is good. Okay, but let's look at the next problem. All right, so how many hectoliters are in 0.83 milliliters? Is there a base unit here? Nope, there is not. So it's going to be a multi-stepper. So no problem, we can do this. No big deal. All right, easy for you to say, Mrs. Vandewell. All right, sorry, yeah, but still no big deal. Here is my milliliter. What unit has to go on the bottom? Milliliter does. And I'm going to go to my base unit. My base unit is going to go on top, all right? So which is bigger, a liter or a milliliter? A liter is bigger than a milliliter, right? So I put the 1 with the liter, and so I put 1,000 with the millis. So I just knew that millennium means thousand, all right? Milli means thousand, so there's 1,000 milliliters are equal to 1 liter, okay? But let's go ahead and do what I always do. So milliliters, all right? And what's on top? Liters. Is that what I'm looking for? No, it's not. What does that mean? I have to go on, don't I? All right. So, oops, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to put liters on the bottom, and I want hectoliters on top. Hey, folks, what does hecto mean? Hecto means 100, doesn't it? All right, so it's 100 liters are in 1 hectoliter. My liter is smaller than a hectoliter, so 100 goes with the liter and 1 goes with the hectoliter. So what does this mean I need to do? I mean, I need to divide, all right, and that's what I get. I lost my equal sign. All right, so there it is. So I took 0.83 divided by 1,000 divided by 100, and there I go. Okay, notice I don't have to worry about sig figs because I'm just multiplying or dividing by, factor of 10. So my sig figs will stay the same when you're doing this. All right, let's try the next one. My cat is 35 centimeters long. How many feet is he? All right, so let's go ahead and do that one. All right, I'm putting my unknown equals my given. So everyone, hey, what goes on the bottom now? You said centimeters. You are correct. And hopefully you know it is 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch, right? Now what? Well, let's do some crossing out. Centimeters and centimeters. I have inch here. Oh no, that's not what I want. All right, I need to keep going, don't I? All right, so what's going to go on the bottom, everyone? Inches. What goes on top? Feet. 1 foot equals 12 inches. So let's try this again. All right, inches, inches. That's good. What's the only thing left on top is feet. Hey, that is what I want. So now I can just grab my calculator. All right, let me grab my calculator. And what is this equal to? I got 1.14829,396. How many sig figs should I end up with? 2. That's right. All right, so what I would like you to do is try the next example on your own. So pause this and see how you do. Okay, this is how I did it. Okay, so I started off with hours, and hours went to minutes, and guess what? Minutes is not what I want. Nope. So I had to keep going. I got rid of minutes, and I put seconds on top. Is seconds what I want? Yes. So I got, this is what my calculator gave me, and guess what? I have 3 sig figs here. I have 3 sig figs here. So I'm done. All right, so go ahead and you probably want to use these 2 conversions and any other conversions you know off the top of your head, and do the next, or finish this page here. Go ahead and work on this page. So you better pause it and work on it, and I'll show you my answers when I think you're done. Are you paused? Hit the pause button, please. All right, how'd you do? This is my first one. Inches equals centimeters. Centimeters go on the bottom. They cancel each other out. Inches go on top, and that is what I'm looking for. Yay! So this is what I got, and I wanted 2 sig figs. Okay, how about the next one? Okay, feet go on the bottom. I got inches. Is inches what I'm looking for? Nope. All right, I got to do it again. I'm going to put inches on the bottom. So, oops, darn it. So they will cancel out. Let me readjust. Here we go. I'll put inches on the bottom so that they will cancel out. I'm left with centimeters. Is centimeters what I want? Yes, it is. So I'm going to take this times 12 times 2.54. This is what I get. I want 4 sig figs. That's my answer. What about the next one? I'm going to put grams on the bottom. They cancel out. Pounds are right here. Is that what I'm looking for? The answer is yes. All right. So I'm going to take 0.87 divided by 454, and I get this number here. How many sig figs? I want 2 sig figs, and there I have 2 sig figs. What about the last one? Oops, hang on. I want kilograms from pounds, so here's my conversion. I'm going to put pounds on the bottom, grams go on top. All right, is grams I'm looking for? No, so I have to keep going. Grams here, put grams at the bottom. Remember, your smaller unit, grams, gets the bigger number, 1,000. Your bigger unit, kilogram, gets the 1. Okay, so I'm left with kilograms. Is that the unit I want? Yes, it is. So I'm going to take 222.22 times 454 divided by 1,000, and I get this big number. How many sig figs do I want? I want 5 sig figs, 5 sig figs, and I am done. All right, and that concludes your video notes for Chapter 2. So don't wait to be great. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.